You've probably heard the term house edge, and that's how much the casino keeps, right? On the pass line, 1.41%, 1.52%, 4.0%, 11.11%. But what the heck does that mean? This is the amount that they keep over an infinity period of time, right? So this is a theoretical percentage. Why can't anyone just tell me exactly how much the casino is keeping from my winning bet? Well, today I'm going to tell you exactly how much the casino is ripping you off in dollars and cents. Casino craps. It might look complicated, but at its core, it's a simple game. Roll the dice, bet on the correct number, and win. Hi, I'm Jeremy, and I am a craps fanatic. My job, to teach you the game, to teach you the math and some strategies, and with a little luck, you can color up. You might hear me say that the casino always wins. Well, how do they do that? Well, they don't play a fair game with us. If we were to flip a coin, and let's say this is heads and this is tails, our chances is 50-50. Let's say we bet $1. If we land on heads, we win $1. If we land on tails, the casino wins the dollar. That would be a completely fair game. You get paid for the chance of winning versus losing. But what if you roll tails? The casino wins, they take your dollar. But if you roll heads, you win, but they don't pay you $1, they only pay you 90 cents. That wouldn't be fair, but that's exactly what the casino does on every single bet on the table, except for one. So I'm going to break down exactly how much they keep out of every single bet. Now, I'm going to base this off of $15 bets. Nowadays, that's pretty much the most common table you're going to see. I know there's 25, there's 50, there's also 10, some 5 and lower, but we're going to base this off of $15. So if we start with a $15 pass line, actually let's not start with the pass line because that's a little more complicated. Let's start with something a little easier, like making a bet on the 10. So $15 place bet on the 10. Now the 4 and 10 have the same odds and probabilities and payouts, so either one, they're going to be the same math. So let's start here on the 10. To win this bet, there are 3 combinations to roll the 10 and win, and there are 6 combinations or ways to roll the 7 and lose. So your chances of winning are 6-3, or you can reduce that down to 2-1. So that is the true odds of winning versus losing, 2-1 on the 4 and 10. So if we bet $15, if we lose the bet, obviously we would lose $15. But if we win the bet, we should get paid 2-1 or $30. This would be a true and fair payout, but they don't pay that. On a place bet, they pay 9-5. So that means they would only pay you $27. You should get paid $30. They only pay you $27. So essentially, on every time you lose, they take all of your money. And when you win, they hold back $3 or they short you $3 for the risk you've taken. So the casino is in a win-win situation. They take it all or they take $3 and shave off some of your winnings. So that's why I say in the end, the casino always wins. Obviously, if you can roll more 10s than you're supposed to or more than probability, you have beaten the odds and you could win and overcome how much they're shaving off or keeping from every bet. But that's the chance and that's just gambling. Now on the 4 and 10, you should and could make a buy bet. A buy bet pays the true odds minus a 5% VIG or commission. So if you bet 15, they will pay you the true odds or $30 minus 5% of your bet. That would be 75 cents. They would round it up to $1 because they don't keep small change on the table. And therefore it would cost you $1 to make a buy bet. So a buy bet at $15 is certainly better than a place bet at $15 where they keep $3 versus $1. Now a lot of casinos won't allow you to make a buy bet at $15 because it's actually more than a 5% VIG. And oh no, they're rounding up to $1 and they're cheating you some. Well, 3 versus 1, you'd still be better off with a buy bet. But a lot of times they'll say, hey, you have to make a minimum bet of $20. Therefore, 5% VIG is actually $1. They're not doing any rounding and they're not cheating you extra. And that's why you'll see them say, hey, the minimum's $20 for a buy bet. But anytime you could buy the 4 and 10, even at $10, it still makes sense to always buy it versus place it because it's going to be $1 versus $3. Okay, you can also make a lay bet, which is the exact opposite. Instead of being the 2-1 underdog, you're the 2-1 favorite. So you have to bet $40 to win back $20. And again, they're going to pay true odds minus 5% of that $20 win, which is $1. All right, let's move to the 5 and 9. Again, we're doing a $15 bet on the 9. The true odds of rolling a 9 before a 7 is 3 to 2. So they should pay you $22.50. But instead of paying you 3 to 2, they pay you 7 to 5 for a place bet. With a 7 to 5 payout, they're going to pay you $21 for your $15 bet. So they are keeping $1.50. Now you could make a lay bet. You would bet 30 to win back 20. They would keep 5% or $1, and you can make a lay bet against the 9. Some casinos, if they take the vig only if you win, then it makes sense to buy the bet. In that case, you would bet 20 to win 30. It would cost you $1 or 5% to buy the bet. All right, they're keeping $3. They're keeping $1.50. The 6 and 8 are supposed to be better bets. They should keep less. Let's take a look at these. These are a little interesting. So again, if we were to make that same $15 bet, the true odds are 6 to 5, says they should pay you $18. But they don't pay you true odds, they pay you 7 to 6 on the 6 and 8. So what would that mean? They would pay you $17.50. Now most tables don't have a way to pay you $17.50, and so they don't allow you to make this bet because they say, well, we're going to have to round this and actually charge you $1 for it. So they're going to keep not 50 cents, but a complete dollar. And they say that's unfair of us to round down on you and pay you 17. So you'll see on many tables that they say, you know what, you're not allowed to make a $15 bet. You need to make an $18 bet so it pays fairly. So what does an $18 bet pay? Well, with true odds, it would pay you $21.60. And then they tell you, see how much fairer this is? We're only going to, well, we can't pay you the 60 cents, so we're going to keep the 60 cents and then pay you out $21 for your $18 bet. So if you bet $18, they're going to shave off 60 cents. If you bet $15, they're going to shave off $1. Yes, percentage-wise, that is more, but they're asking you to bet $3 extra to save yourself 40 cents to make it fair for the player. So at $15, they're going to keep $1. At $18, they're going to keep 60 cents. Now I've made a video about this before and I've talked about betting $25 on the 6 and 8, but let me break down the math a little bit for you because it's pretty interesting because most casinos will say, hey, you know what? You need to make a proper bet of $30. A proper bet of $30, they're going to go ahead and pay you $35. They should pay you $36, so they're keeping $1 from you. If you were to make a $25 bet on the 6 and 8, or they allowed you to make a $25 bet, they should pay you $30. They only pay you 7 to 6, which would be, let me get this, $29.16. They can't pay you the 16 cents, they'd have to round down to $29. So if they round down to $29, essentially they're keeping $1.16 from you. So here they keep $1, here they keep $1.16. So they're telling you, hey, we need you to bet an extra $5 to save yourself 16 cents. Again, because that's only fair for the player, we don't want to round you down an extra 16 cents. So we're going to ask you and make you bet an extra $5 to save 16 cents. The things that make you go, right? The casino, always looking out for the player's best interest. Mathematically, long term, house edge-wise, yes, technically this is better, but in the short term, they're asking you to pay $5 to save 16 cents. Now we've kind of broken down how true odds versus what the payout odds are. It's a little trickier when we come to the pass line. You know, here there's 6 ways to lose and 3 ways to win. Pass line, it's a little more difficult because there's 2 parts of the bet. When you come out and then whenever the point's established, so all those come into calculation. You really have to base that off of 1,980 rolls. I know sounds kind of crazy, but essentially out of 1,980 rolls, you will win 976 times and you will lose 1,004 times. So your odds are 1,004 to 976. What does that mean? If we make a $15 bet, we should get paid $15.43. It's actually $15.43.03, but we're just going to round it to $15.43. Obviously, they don't pay you $15.43, they just pay you 1-to-1, so they are shorting you every time you win this bet by 43 cents. So you can kind of see what are the better bets, right? We're losing $3, we're losing $1.50. we're losing, 60 cents. Now we're losing 43 cents. Pass line, come bet, same bet, just depends if the pucks are on. So again, the come bet also loses 43 cents. Let's go ahead and jump to the don't pass, which technically is mathematically better. All right, our same $15 bet. This one's a little trickier. The math is based off of 5,940 rolls. I know, ridiculous, right? But that's what it is. So you're expected to win 2,847 of those. You're losing 2,928. Yes, I have this written down so I can see this. I don't have this memorized. So you should get paid $15.42.67. I'm going to round it to 43. So if you lose, they take your complete bet. If you win, they short you because they're not going to pay you the 43 cents. They're going to pay you just 15. So they're going to short you 43 cents. Now they're both 43 cents that they shorted you. So you say, well, how come the don't pass is better? It's such a minute difference. Remember, I said this is 43.03 and this is 42.67. So, I mean, I've rounded them to 43 cents, but there are, fractions of a penny difference between the two. And obviously, the bigger amount you get, the difference gets bigger. But at the $15 level, you're talking about a fraction of a penny difference. So don't let anyone tell you that, hey, the don't pass is so much better than the pass. You can pick either side you want. The difference is a fraction of a penny at the $15 level. Let's go ahead and move up to the field bet. So you win when any of these numbers are rolled. So there are 16 dice combinations that will let you win, but there are 20 dice combinations that will cause you to lose. So if we were to make a $15 bet, the true odds are 5 to 4. They should pay you $18.75. Have you ever seen them pay $18.75? No, they don't even pay you $18. What they do is they pay you 1-to-1 or $15. So essentially they're keeping $3.75. Now I'm not going to get into the math of it completely, but obviously if you roll the 2, they pay double. If you roll the 12, they'll pay double. Sometimes they'll pay you triple. So if you can roll those numbers, then you would beat the odds and win a bonus. So the math's a little tricky, and I'm not going to factor those in. I'm just going to keep it at this, that essentially you're going to lose $3.75 when they pay you for the field bet. Let's go ahead and move to the center of the table. Let's take a look at the hard way bets first. Again, we're at a $15 table. Let's say we bet $15. I know you could bet less. You'd probably see this at $5 bet or $1 bet, and I'll cover that a little bit, but I just want to show you at the $15 level so we can kind of compare it to these bets and just see how bad some of these bets are here in the middle. Now with a $15 bet on the hard 6 or hard 8, you should win. The true odds are 10-to-1. You should win $150, but you don't. They pay you 9-to-1, which is $135. So that means they short you $15. Again, you lose, they take all $15. If you win, they short you $15 from your payoff. So I'm going to leave this here for a second just so you can kind of see how bad this is. They're keeping $3.75. They're keeping $3, $1.50, 60 cents. 43 cents, $15. Now you say, well, $15, I'm not making $15 bets on the hard ways. Okay, let's say you're making a $5 bet. You should get paid 50. They don't. They pay you 9-to-1, which is more like 45, which means they are keeping, when you win, $5. So again, they're still keeping a very large percent of your payback. All right, the hard 4 and 10. The true odds are 8-to-1. They should pay you, with a $15 bet, $120. They only pay you 7-to-1, which is $105, which again means they're keeping $15. And you might say, well, wait a second. I thought the 4 and 10 had a higher else edge. Well, it does. It's 11% versus 9%, but they both keep $15. But it's a higher percentage of what they should be paying, right? So they're keeping $15 of $150. Here they're keeping $15 of what should be $120. So they're keeping a larger percentage, and that's why the house edge is a little bit higher on the 4 and 10. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the 2 and the 12. Now we know there's 35 ways to lose this bet. There's only one way to win this bet. The odds are 35-to-1. That's the true odds. So if you made a $15 bet, they should pay you $525. Well, let's put it down here. $525. Awesome hit. They don't pay you 500, they pay you 31, which is $450, which means if you make a $15 bet on this, they are shorting you $75. Again, you're probably not making a $15 bet on this, but if you did it at a $5 level, they're keeping $25. But I'm leaving this here again because all bets are 15 just to show how bad some of these bets are. This is why the casino loves these bets in the middle. Look how much they're keeping from your winning bet. You win and they're still keeping $75. All right, the 3 and the 11. There are 2 ways to win this bet, 34 ways to lose this number. So the true odds are 17 to 1. So if you were to make a $15 bet, you should win $255. Of course, they don't pay you 17 to 1, they pay you 15 to 1. And so therefore they pay you $225. They short you $30 on that bet. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the any craps. We've all heard that it's a bad bet. There are 4 ways to win this bet. There are 32 ways to lose this bet. You can reduce that down. It's 8 to 1. The true odds are 8 to 1. So if we made a $15 bet and got paid true odds, we should get paid $120. But instead we don't get paid 8 to 1, we get paid 7 to 1. So that is a 100, well, I'll just take it out here. That is 105 they'll pay us. So on the any craps bet, they're keeping $15. Let's take a look at the any 7. House edge wise, this is the worst bet on the standard table. 6 ways to win, 30 ways to lose. That reduces down. The true odds are 5 to 1. Let's say we made a $15 bet here. We should get paid $75, but they only pay us 4 to 1. So they only pay us $60 and they short us $15. Well, let's do it properly. They short us $15 out of that bet. And you might say, whoa, 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 they short us 15, they short us 15 here, they short us 75 here. Why is this one the worst bet? Well, it's the largest percentage of what they should pay you. They're keeping 15 out of a payout that should be 75. Here, they're keeping 15 out of a payout that should be 120. So percentage-wise, they're keeping a bigger percentage of the bet back. That's what makes this the worst bet. All right, let's go ahead and bring out the hop bets. Let's say Crazy Tim always needs to hop the 5 and 9, and he thinks they're a good bet. Well, on any dice combo that you bet, there are always 2 ways to roll that number. Let's take a look at the 3-1. There are 2 ways to roll it, the 3-1 or the 1-3. So you have 2 ways to win, 34 ways to lose. So the true odds are 17 to 1. They don't pay you 17 to 1, they pay you 15 to 1. So if you notice, this is exactly the same as the 3 and 11. Because there are 2 dice combinations to win. So again, if you were to bet $15 on this, they should pay you $255. They pay you $225. They're going to short you $30 on the hop. Now the hard way hop is the same as the 2 and the 12. These are essentially hard way hops. There's only one way to roll this. There's only one way to roll the hard way hop on a number. Let's look at the 5-5. True odds are 35 to 1. They only pay you 30 to 1. You should win $525. You only get paid $450. Again, they're keeping $75. Crazy Tim, these aren't that great of a bet. What's even crazier is Crazy Ron. Let's say he thinks he can roll all the numbers before he can roll the 7. A lot of times you guys know this as the all, tall, small. Here I have this mat, the low side, high side, color up, just to keep away from any lawsuits, right? But it's commonly known as the all, tall, and the small. Now these calculations are a lot bigger. I had to go to Wizard of Oz to see what this is. But essentially, if you were to bet the low side or the high side, which means the low side, you have to roll 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 before you roll the 7. And then the high sides, the high numbers, again, you have to roll those 5 numbers before the 7. The true odds are 37.945, blah, 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 a bunch of numbers, right? Again, calculations are very complicated. I'm just going to round, it's so close, I'm just going to round that to the true odds are 38 to 1. They don't pay you close to 38 to 1. Most casinos pay you now 30 to 1. So if you were to bet this at $15, you should get paid $570, but they only pay you $450 at 30 to 1. So they short you $120 every time you win that bet. Now the all is to roll all 10 numbers before the 7. The chance of that, or the true odds is 190.197 and a bunch of numbers. I'm just gonna round that just for ease to 190. So if you were to make a $15 bet on that, you should win 2,000, it's gonna take a minute here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $850. But they don't pay you that. They don't pay 190 to 1, they only pay you 150 to 1, again, in most casinos. So your payout is gonna be $2,250. Yeah, they hold back or they keep $600 when you win that bet. Awesome payout, but they're shorting you $600. So Ron, what do you think of this bet now? Yikes, they're keeping quite a bit of money from you. And that's how the casino always wins. And again, all this center action, you're probably not betting at the $15 level, but I wanted to kind of show you all these bets at $1,500 so you can see how much they're keeping, you know, and kind of as an equal comparison. Again, $600 they're keeping. Yeah, it's a big payout, but they're keeping a huge percentage. They're keeping $75 here. They're keeping $15 on all these bets here. They're keeping $30 on the 3 and the 11. They're keeping $3 every time you place the 10. Make sure you're always buying the 10. 5 and 9, they're keeping $1.50. Here on the 8, if they make you make that $18 bet, they're keeping 60 cents. Here, they're only keeping 43 cents. And then there's one bet that we left off, and that is the odds bet. And the thing about that is they pay true fair odds of what it is. So they actually pay you true. They don't keep a percentage. So whether you're taking odds behind the pass line, laying odds against the don't, or the come bets and the don't pass, that's what makes the odds such an amazing bet, is because they don't keep even 1 penny of it. Yeah, when you lose, they take it all, but when you win, they pay the true fair odds of what they should pay. They don't keep any percentage back. And that's why it's considered the greatest bet in the casino. But you do have to first make a bet that guarantees you a loss of 43 cents. I know this is a long video. For some of you, this may be boring. You're probably not even listening now. You've turned this off. But I thought this might be a little eye-opening for some of you. And we're not talking about theoretical holds and house edge percentages and stuff like this. This is actually what they're holding back from your payment when you win. I know I had fun with this because I kind of geek out on this stuff. So hopefully many of you enjoyed this. And whatever type of bets you like to make, whether it's the pass line, the odds bet, or this one where they keep $600, but they pay over $2,000, however you like to play, good luck on Coloring Up. If you're enjoying my videos, consider supporting the Color Up channel by joining my club, the Color Up Club. It's an awesome community of craps enthusiasts just like me, and I also give out some free swag. So check out my website, colorup.club.